Monday, October the 26th, 2009. Hope everyone is doing magnificent. And in this video, I'm going to be going over a little bit on Webbot and the revolution. So start off with Webbot. October the 25th was a prediction made. And that would be for the next big event that would change the shape of things to come over the next year or so. It looks like the next little shift of change, if you will, would be that towards the death of the dollar. And Webbot's been saying that the whole time. I've been saying that the whole time, as 2008 was all about the original panic, the stock market's falling. The next cycle would be that of the dollar, which would be followed by an economic depression. So they're saying on the last telecast that they did, which was yesterday, the link for this 6-part video series is in the more info, that around Wednesday or Thursday, that's when most people, or when some people, he didn't say most or some, but that's when the body tension would most likely have been felt. They're saying that this is a turn and not a tipping point. And what that means is a tipping point is something like a 911. Major event that usually catches everybody off guard at one particular moment. Of course, I was talking about potentially what Xavier was mentioning, and a couple other people, like a Russian psychic, we'll say, was talking about Washington blowing up. That would have been a tipping point. And I still say, as far as Washington's concerned, it is a target and a place where I would not feel safe to be a citizen, because it could happen on any day, whether it be this year, next year, or whenever. It's, to me, a dangerous spot, given the fact that that's where the political center of the United States is. They mention on Webbot, as far as the bond auction this week, not looking too good. And it seems as if this next wave of events that's going to be happening is going to set up the decline of the dollar. The US dollar index is continuously falling lower and lower. And this all could lead to the point of ending the Federal Reserve, ending the monetary system the way that we have. And because we haven't even started what we need to go to the stage, I have really very little idea for how it could actually look at this point. But the bottom line is, it has to happen, and it has to happen sooner rather than that of later. That's what happens when you create way too much phantom money, while at the same point many people are just struggling extremely hard. So I pretty much see a turn, something that we see after the fact. Whether you look back a week, 3, 4 weeks from now, and you say, well, now that you look back and you see where this event, and this event all transpired into place, it can then make sense. And if this is going to be one of those slow death procedures, then there won't be that many significant tipping points along the way. And I was also mentioning too that if there ever is a good real prediction that happens to be true about a tipping point event where someone's planning on bombing something, someone's trying to plan on going to war somewhere, if the ones whom are in charge of that event notice that it is getting extremely popular as far as the predictions, whether it be from Webbot or some very popular psychic, at any point they can say, you know what, I think it's time to go to plan B. And that's a lot of what I've been thinking about for the last few months when I hear about big predictions getting spread a lot anyway. Switching over to the revolution, Cliff High says a revolution is necessary. I say the revolution is guaranteed based on the energies of the Mayan calendar. Now, if you plan on being part of a revolution, if it's not a peaceful one, if it's violent, if it's filled with anger or rage, you are playing into the powers that be, into their cards. With there being extra martial law, they're going to go after those whom are making revolutions unpeaceful. Now, I've already seen a lot of people who have been peaceful, who have been fatalities of the martial law enforcers. That's still going to happen, but generally speaking, a peaceful revolution is the last thing or the worst thing for that as the powers that be. When I made the video, Thank You Banks, I consider that to be a form of a peaceful revolution. If the people in the banking system see that, that is designed to make them feel guilty. And that's where I see this whole thing playing out. If more and more peaceful revolutions come into play, this is the energy they don't want, because a peaceful revolution contains that of a higher vibration, a higher frequency, which is the opposite of the frequency that they are primarily using, which is that of lower. And if you're out there throwing rocks and stones at buildings, if you're out there just trying to be as violent as you can, well, that's what they're attracting. If they're using fear, fear attracts fear, and that's why it works out to their plan, if you will. Now, they're saying that the revolution looks to be starting at the start of 2010. It's already started as far as how I see things going, but at the same point, it has even barely started. When we look at the April 15 tea parties of this year, all of the G20 summit meetings, and so many people just making YouTube videos. Heck, every time I watch Carl Denninger make a video, I think, thank you, and this is part of the revolution. Going out there, speaking the truth, because knowledge is information. More and more people are getting the knowledge, and when you have this knowledge, we're still like 10% conscious beings. So 90% of the stuff that we do, a lot of times will go against from what they want to happen, and that is for the matter of change. And change has to happen because of the energies of the Mayan calendar. We're getting to the point where the world needs to have a complete makeover, if you will, as we exit the lower vibrations while entering the higher vibrations. Because right now, the majority of the things we do, the majority of the things that are set up in this world is that of fear. Once that polarity reverses and it's done from a positive vibration, that's where a lot of complete opposites have to happen. So in 2012, with the revolution at that period there, this will tie in big with the dollar falling pretty much down to its floor, if you will. And change would have to be done. Now, as far as the next tipping point that happens, and there's going to be a tipping point, whether there's one this year, next year, or the year after, to me it's almost a guarantee that we have to have at least one tipping point by at least the middle of 2012 that is significantly high. All of these things are created from our thoughts, and like attract like, and the opposite, negativity, it attracts negativity. So a lot of people are stuck into this fear-based system, and when that's the case, you get a lot of bad stuff back. So moving in towards this shift in consciousness, having a peaceful revolution, having positive thought can do a lot of wonders in reducing these tipping points so there's not as many of them, which is a positive. They are not as bad as they could have been, or the tipping point doesn't affect you in a negative way like it would the majority. So the key thing is during this time is to do the best you possibly can and staying positive. Thank you everybody for watching. Peace and light, and have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.